Good afternoon, listeners. Welcome to the OMCast, where we get real, authentic, and weird. This is episode number 3, and today's special guest is TJ Misner. TJ is seriously probably one of my oldest friends. Not oldest in age, but our friendship goes back to 6th grade.
Prehistoric times.
Yep. When I first moved to Tacoma, he was one of my first friends, and he has been truly one of the most supportive friends I've ever had.
It was back when you had like the rocker spiked hairdo.
I painted my fingernails black.
Painted your fingernails black. You had the little the cloth wristbands.
Yep.
And
I wanted to be Blink-182.
And you guys were in a cover band. You, Jay Caldwell, Jamie Helm, Richie Fitzer, shout out, our boys. Yeah, and I think you guys, the first concert was at my house, at a birthday party.
No, TJ,
you guys went down in my,
He has been the most supportive friend, whether I was in a pop punk band, whether I was in multi-level marketing pyramid schemes.
Shout out, Jri.
Yes. And now just being a traveling filmmaker, he has been supportive in everything, in all my endeavors, and he's been the friend that sticks around through all of it. We've been through everything together, and I really cherish our friendship.
Well, I mean, on the flip side, too, Gabe has always been there for me while I've been smoking marijuana and not doing anything, and drinking alcohol and not doing anything, and even smoking OxyContin and doing drugs and not doing anything. I still had Gabe right there by my side to always love me.
I think it's really great because we're completely different people.
Different. And those people, the people who are listening to this or watching this that know Gabe and myself both, do realize how different you and I are.
Oh, yeah, we are completely different, but we laugh about the same things. We both share love for video games. When we were back in the Halo 2 days, TJ hosted so many Halo parties, and I can't say how much fun we have had.
It was great being 12, 13, 14 years old and having 10 of our friends over.
Yep.
Pizzas, Mountain Dew cases, kids passed out on the floor, kids up until 3 o'clock in the morning just glued to the TV.
Yep, and even when our parents let us drive to Disneyland when we were 17 years old.
Oh, God.
That was the trip of a lifetime.
We started, so get this, oh my God. You guys, get this. So
let's talk about this real quick.
All right, yeah, so let's go Disneyland real quick. So it was spring break of our junior year, right?
I just got my license.
You just got your license,
got my car.
and you just got your Volkswagen.
Yep.
I don't know how to drive stick. Keep that in the back of your mind. I don't know how to drive stick. We convinced my mom and dad are very loose with kids. Like they're very open with letting me do whatever. It was a surprise that your mom let you do this.
My mom still today is like, I don't know why I let you guys do that.
It was crazy, fun trip. But so anyways, we're 17, spring break. We decided to take a road trip down to California, down to Disneyland.
With a bunch of cannabis.
Not only with a bunch of cannabis, we stop off at my brother in Portland, who's 10 years older than me, and he gives us we got a quarter.
Yeah.
Not even, just we thought we were balling, and we got an eighth or a quarter or something.
We have so much weed.
So we're smoking, and us frugal, cheap ass 17-year-olds, we smoke a bowl, We don't want to smoke anymore. We're going to want to smoke later. But we're going to want to clean out the pipe, so we look in there, and there's one hit in there. You stoners know, there's one hit left, but usually, grown-up smokers were fuck it, put it in the ashtray. Our dumbasses were no, we'll put it back into the fresh bag of weed. So by the time we even get down to California, we have an eighth of bud that's just coated in ash.
Oh my God.
Oh, it was horrible. Such a nub style.
Super nub style. And wait, when I got tired of driving, TJ didn't know how to drive stick. Let's come back to this. And we were cruise controlling, and we decided to switch. I didn't want to teach TJ how to drive a manual, so instead we decided to switch places on the freeway.
Cruise control.
While the car was moving.
Cruise control.
And cruise control, you can be at a minimum of 30 miles per hour, and you can be cruise controlling. But we decided
17 years old in California, no supervision.
We're let's switch seats at 80 miles an hour. So I remember that shit, dude.
I remember
we switched seatbelts.
Did we do it going down, or was it just going up?
Both. We did it a couple times.
I don't remember it coming down, but I remember going through downtown Sacramento, going back up north, and you were getting tired, and I was wide awake. So we took off our...
He held the wheel. I took off my seatbelt. I hopped in the back seat. TJ hopped over the stick shift.
While holding the steering wheel, I'm hopping over. It's on cruise control.
80 miles an hour.
I'm hopping over the center console. Oh my God. And then when I got tired, we were in Weed. It was in Weed.
Weed,
or
California.
Redding. I think it was in Weed, California. But so I got tired, so I woke. Gabe passed out. I was probably driving. I don't know how to downshift or anything.
Yeah.
Gabe's passed out in the back, and I'm just on cruise control in 5th gear going down I-5. And so I start getting tired. So I wake Gabe up, and so we just kick it into neutral, and I just break
Cruise off the
down.
freeway.
I just
Cruise off the
freeway and break all the way down, and then put the e-brake on him.
Dude, we had some angels looking over us. I don't know how we made it alive.
Man,
that
that
was
was
like
one hell
looking
of a
back,
story.
that was some pretty careless shit right there. Mm-hmm. But that's a very fond memory that I have, and I'll probably never forget it.
Me neither. That's one of my favorite Disneyland experiences by far.
Same. I don't even remember the Disneyland experience because we were so
I don't remember
stoned.
going to Disneyland or any. I remember sleeping. We slept in the car. So
Yes.
this is 2 teenage boys, like prime puberty, just hit the peak of puberty, sleeping in a Volkswagen Jetta for 7 days, no shower. So I remember in the Dennings, we slept in a Dennings parking lot
yep.
one night.
Yep.
And we slept like right outside of the park one night.
Dude, I remember we hated each other when we got back.
Oh my God,
I was so ready.
hated you.
I was ready for you to get out
He
of the
stunk
freaking
so
car.
bad, and you wouldn't let me smoke. Oh no, we couldn't get cigarettes because we were 17,
Yes.
and we tried to get people. I tried to go into so many smoke shops and buy cigarettes, and I had such a baby face, and they kept carding me, and I tried to get other people to buy me cigarettes, and they were saying no. So by the time that I got back, I just needed a fucking cigarette so bad.
That was the best.
We were about to tear each other's throats out.
I'm really glad that we're still friends after that. I'm glad that we survived.
Yeah.
That's some real shit. Thanks, Mom, for letting me do that. That
Yeah,
was like
shout out to our moms for
trusting us.
trusting us to be pieces of shit going down to California.
Oh, so good. Well, we're starting off this podcast with a high note, but this podcast is actually going to get really real in a second. So it's not going to be all sunshine and rainbows like normal, because the whole point of this is to share real stories and, hopefully give people some perspective about all the things that actually happen in this world. So I think it happened during right after we got out of high school, right?
It actually happened right after
senior
we got
year.
back from spring break, that junior year, the
Yeah, so
end of junior year.
TJ's had kind of like a really there was a very dark period in his life where he got into a lot of drugs. And it's just like the whole Northeast Tacoma area just kind of got like plagued with Oxycontin and just like that whole scene kind of.
Oh, it's not just like Northeast Tacoma. I mean, a lot of your watchers and your fans that aren't in the Washington area. I mean, they can connect with that too, because it wasn't just a Northeast Tacoma or a Western Washington thing. It was all across the country.
Oh yeah.
It was an it was an epidemic that hit every neighborhood.
Oh yeah.
And not just every neighborhood, but I hate to gentrify this, but every rich white neighborhood it attacked, and we weren't used to like the crack epidemic or the heroin epidemic. So all these rich white kids that are growing up all of a sudden I started stealing pills from my dad. My dad was on Vicodin because he had back surgeries, and I started off stealing from him to make some money to buy some weed. And then so finally, and this was at the junior year when we got back from the Disneyland trip. That's when it started to go downhill. I would steal 10 Vicodin from my dad and sell them for $2 a pop.
Take a couple.
No, I wouldn't even take a couple. And then after like 6 months, I sold it to one of my buddies, and they're like, hey, I already bought it, do you want to try one? And that was just right when I took that first one. I popped it, and it sent me into such a spiral. Started snorting them, moved to methadone,
Smoking them.
Moved to methadone, popped methadone, moved to Percocet, snorted Percocet, started smoking Percocet, moved to Oxycontin, smoking Oxycontin, sniffing Oxycontin.
Yep.
Luckily, I did get sober. I am 9 years, 4 months sober.
Wow. That's beautiful, man.
So
Do you still think about the drugs?
every day. Not every day. Often. I would say every other day. Honestly, the high that I miss, though, and I know a lot of people might judge me on this, but the high that I miss is robbing houses. I miss that. I don't personally miss it. I don't. My conscience doesn't miss it. My soul doesn't miss it.
You miss the high,
but
the
it's
feeling.
still that high, and that craving is still in the back of my head where I can drive through. I'm never gonna rob a house. I'm innocent. I'm never gonna rob a house.
TJ has a very, very good heart.
I'm not that person anymore, but there are times where I'm riding around smoking a blunt or just riding around with friends, and I see a house with a garage door open and no cars in the garage, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, that's it's an easy $1,000 right there.
Yep.
And that's something that my mind is still, it still processes, and it
Yep.
still goes through that subconsciously, and I still think about it. And consciously, you know, I stop it right away. And
What stops you from actually taking the action of doing it, though?
I hate jail.
That's a good.
Oh,
that's good.
Jesus
That's
Christ,
good.
I hate jail.
That's good leverage.
It's dirty, it's bad food, oh, I'm lonely.
You get dicks in your butt?
Oh, man. Ugh. I don't want to do that ever again. Hell no.
Yeah, you had there was a period of time where like TJ and I we'll always be friends, but there was a time where we didn't talk because he was so deep in that, and I don't know what I was doing, but
Well, no, I mean the same thing with like Ryan or with Tyler. I mean some of my longtime friends, they separated themselves from me because they knew that I was in a dark place, and you were one of them. And I don't have any ill will towards it, because if I was in your situation, I wouldn't want to be friends with me either.
But I don't think I was consciously not being friends with you because you were doing that.
It was
think
just
it's just like
we
you-
were separated in life at that time, and it just so happened
yeah.
that I was addicted and you were.
I don't know what I was doing. Was I moving cannabis at the time? Or was it after you? That was like during.
It wasn't.
Because TJ, I had a little period in my life where I was distributing cannabis to the
A
masses.
lot of cannabis.
Yeah, and no. It was so funny how it started, because I would call TJ was like my dealer back in high school, and I would always be like, TJ, I need an eighth and a quarter and
Yeah,
a
because
dub.
Gabe is Mr. Popular. Everyone knows Gabe's Mr. Popular over here. He hasn't met anybody that doesn't like him.
That's not true.
So after high school, or after class, after school, you're gonna have 20 people come over and want to spend time with Gabe. 3 people want an eighth, 3 people want a quarter. Gabe wants a dub himself, and then another person wants an eighth that's just gonna come by and smoke a blunt with him real quick. So Gabe calls me up.
Place
And
these orders, these multiple
he
orders.
orders an ounce, but he orders an ounce in 3 dub sacks, an eighth, a quarter, a 50 sack. And so I'm sitting there, I'm like, Gabe, why don't I just sell you a quarter pound and you hold on to it for a couple days, and you can make some money off of it and smoke for free? And it was like a light bulb went off in his head. He was
That's where it began.
I was like, oh, you have a point. That's a good idea.
Just to preface for the sake of my image, for my ego, I was a very, very good drug dealer, wasn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah, I always like service with a smile. I was never late. I never ripped people
Right,
off.
he wasn't on dealer time. It wasn't like, most dealers, you call them up and you're like, hey, I need a dub sack. And you're like, all right, I'm on my way. I'll be there in 15. And you call him 45 minutes later and it's like, I'm pulling up right now. And you call him a half hour later and he's like, hey, come outside. And then you go outside for like 10 minutes and then you call him and they're like, hey, man, I'm just about to leave the house. And you're like, fuck, dude. Like, I could just come to you. But with Gabe, you call up Gabe and you're like, hey, I need a dub sack. And he's like, all right, I'll be there in 10 minutes. He's there before you are.
Yep. And
he's
I
there in
always
5 minutes.
Never rip people. I really I was truly just sharing joy through cannabis. And like, it was so cool that I could just do it out of love. And it supported me for like 2 years. Mm-hmm. Like, I was doing very well sharing cannabis with the world. And unfortunately, my kindness, like,
got the best of you.
Yeah. I learned a lot of like hard lessons. It was.
You can't be a saint like Gabe and be a drug dealer. For those yogi followers and those people who want to follow the path that Gabe does, if you're selling drugs right now, stop. Because you cannot want the best for every single being on this planet and still be a drug dealer. You just can't.
So true.
You can't have trust in the human life and human thought if you're going to be a drug dealer.
But honestly, I wouldn't take that experience back. I learned
Getting jacked.
Yeah, no, just the whole experience of just like doing that kind of. I learned so much about business. I just learned so much about business and like how transactions work and like working with people, and yeah, that was like I feel like I even
It really helped him with his DRE setup.
I still like, even in the video production world today, like I feel like I've taken like little bits and pieces from that, just how to like interact with humans.
Marketing, yeah.
And,
Social
like,
networking.
It's really like integrated to what I do today, and I look back on those times really fondly because I would just spend my days waiting for my burner phone to ring while I'm like eating MSM, playing video games all day. It was like a really good life for 2 years. Mm-hmm. I was fully supporting myself. It was really cool.
Yeah, it was fun before I got into the heavier drugs, when I was just selling weed, like when you were selling weed for me and I was in that situation. It was a lot of fun. You make a lot of money.
Fun.
You socialize with people.
We were just like young kids balling. We were just reckless.
I remember going to buy an I was fresh 16, just got my Tahoe. walked up into GameStop and said, I want an Xbox 360. And they looked at me like super baby face. And I was like, I'll take a 360. And they like look around like looking for my parents. And I just pull out just this fat stack of cash. I'm just like, yep. And just threw it down there like, okay, here you go. And I went home and played it for like 20 minutes. I'm like, oh, my phone's ringing. Back on the grind. And like never played my 360. I just wanted to buy a 360 just for the fuck of it. Like I have the cash for it. Yeah, let's do it.
Dude, my Martin, my really nice acoustic guitar, I bought that with cannabis money, and like the cannabis money was actually what got me out to Vegas. Like I saved up a lot of money, and that's how I left the game, because I feel like if I stayed in long enough, some shit would have gone down.
Like what, getting jacked?
Yeah, or just getting too deep into it, you know? Because I feel like the longer you stay in the game, it's just like you're... Like,
you just it's a black hole.
Yeah,
it just sucks you more and more.
The only end is like, it's never good.
No, it's jail. You know, crime pays till you get caught kind of thing.
Yeah, so you got to get out while you can, and yeah. Wow, it's so crazy to reminisce about all that. I hope you guys don't think of me differently, but if you do, that's okay.
If you do, fuck you. He is who he is because of his past. So if you want to judge his past,
so true,
then you shouldn't be a part of his future.
It's really made me who I am. So I'm really grateful for TJ, just showing me so much, because I was very judgmental about weed.
He stopped being my friend. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Should we even talk about this? I still feel bad about this to this day. I was one of those people that are like, you smoke weed? I'm not going to be friends with you.
Oh my God, this dude defriended me like... we were at Mount Tahoma, so it had to have been sophomore year.
I'm so ashamed.
Maybe it was the end of freshman year, beginning of sophomore year. This dude said that he can't hang out with me anymore because I smoke weed, right?
And then
like 5 months later, I don't know, half of the school year later, fucking Jeremy Nielsen, shout out Jeremy Nielsen and Brandon Skadinsky. Those two boys have a special place in my heart. But fucking Jeremy is in my photography class with me. And he's telling me the story about him and Gabe got super high and went out into the woods or something. And I just stopped everything and I looked at him like, Gabriel Ing? And Jeremy looked at me like a deer with his, like, got caught in, like, headlights. Was I not supposed to say this? I chased Gabe down after that class. And I was like, you're smoking fucking weed right now? Like, you're not my friend right now because I smoke weed and now you're smoking weed. And he felt so bad.
Hypocrite of the century.
It was hypocrite of the century. It was. But he backtracked. He's like, I'm sorry, I didn't realize what it was. And
how fun it was.
I mean, because when you're that kid, with the DARE program, you're told that, it doesn't matter if it's weed. It doesn't matter if it's weed or alcohol or heroin or crack or meth or speed. Anything that gets you high is bad.
Yep.
And so that's what he was thinking. And
I just associated TJ with a bad person because of what he did with his life, and that was a lesson in itself, and I still really feel bad today. I feel bad about that to this day.
You don't need to feel bad. I forgive you. I understand
I'm glad we can joke about it, laugh about
I understand. No, I understand what it was, yeah.
But it was, yeah.
I mean, that's when I found out that my dad smoked weed. That was... I was in middle school, but I freaked out too. So, it's, when you think that weed is such this negative thing...
That changes an entire people. Person. But it's just a plant that grows out of the ground, and it's like made for healing. So, yeah. Sorry again.
Oh, I forgive you.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to get deep. Can we go a little deeper? If we can?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So TJ got like in the thick of it. So you're robbing houses, stealing from people.
Right. So
just to get high.
It didn't progress until. So just to put it in perspective, like I'm 9 years plus sober, and I was only
the whole intention of this conversation is to show if people are still in the darkness, there is a way out.
There's a way out. It's hard, but
it is so like I can't imagine how much you had to go through to get to where you are now.
But I broke my mom's heart. So I started using pills about senior year. We'll just say beginning of senior year. Of high school. I started popping Vicodin. I started snorting methadone, which. Anyways,
don't do it.
Don't do it. Yeah, it burns like shit. But I still remember the burn. Don't for those who are still using, don't snort methadone. Anyways, so my parents, I'm well off. I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth, but I got the silver spoon around like 10 or 11. Like my parents made a fortune while I was alive. Mm-hmm. So I went from rags to riches back to rags. We'll get there in a minute. So this is when my dad is making a lot of money. I had a really great Tahoe. Those who know me, I had a really great.
Oh, his car was so sick. 17-year-old,
22 rims, custom grill, stereo system, lowered, low profile tires. It was
the sound system. That shit was awesome.
It was great.
Roll up to high school,
because my dad loved to make money. But the one thing that he loved to do more than make money was spend money. He loved spending money.
To spoil my kids.
So I'm spoiled out the ass, and I think I'm untouchable. I have everything that I want. I have. My parents owned a business when I graduated high school instead of going into college. Oh my God. I graduated because of this, dude. Real quick.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God. So time out real quick. I was down. Okay. So I was down like 3 credits, 6 classes. I was down 3 credits, 6 classes in like April of senior year. Counselor comes to me and she goes, unless you do these online classes, and I'm selling weed at this time. I'm doing pills, I'm doing Vicodin, but I'm still selling weed, so I'm making some money. Like I'm living the high life senior year. So I go to Gabe, fucking brainiac Gabe over here, who's all about money too, because he's selling weed at this point too. So he's just all about money. And I'm like, I'll pay you $50 a class if you do my online courses for me.
Like, I got
this guy had like some cheat sheet where you copy a question and you go into the reading material and you paste it and you search for it and it gives you the answer instantly. So this guy finished. So I paid you like $300 or like $600 or something.
It was quite a bit.
So that I could graduate on time. So yes, I have my diploma on time, but I did not deserve it. I did not deserve that.
I remember that.
Do you remember that? That was great.
I'll take credit for that.
All right, yeah.
TJ got his high school diploma because of me.
No, Gabe graduated twice. He graduated twice.
Okay, we digress.
Okay, so
that's so funny. You almost didn't graduate high school. Dad's making a lot of money.
So Dad's making a lot of money. I didn't graduate high school. Dad gave me a job as like some rink-a-dink fucking salesman bullshit in his company, so I could just make a great paycheck but not do any work. That happened by the time I start working with him, I'm addicted. I'm snorting perks. I'm smoking oxys, and this is fresh 18. Until 21. So for 3 years.
Dang, I didn't know that you were that.
Yeah, so for 3 years, I'm working as a salesman for my dad's company, which is like a free-range traveling salesman to like business to business. And I'm not doing that. I'm going out, I'm checking in the office at like 8:30 on a Monday, Monday, Tuesday, Monday through Friday. And then I'm going and breaking into houses by 10 o'clock.
Dang.
So I go to check in with my mom, who's the secretary, and my dad, who's the owner of the business. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go here, here, and here. And then I go pick up a couple of my friends. I won't put anybody under the bus. Go pick up a couple of my friends, and then we go hit some houses early in the morning, 9:30, 10 o'clock. And it's like the normal, like what people think, If you have a crackhead that knocks on your door at 9:30 in the morning and asks for Steve, and you say, nope, doesn't live here, and he goes, oh, wrong house, and he walks off, he's looking to break into your house, because that's exactly what I was doing.
Mm-hmm. So you'd like wait for them to leave.
Right. And a lot of the times we would drive in the morning. Morning's the best time to rob a house because that's when people go to work, especially in the nicer neighborhoods. Residences.
He's in fine dining.
I'm sorry, I'm in fine dining right now, so I'm intermixing my stories right now. So you wait for that garage door to open, you see that last car pull out of the garage, and then you go around the corner, you pull up right into the driveway, and you just go in, takes 10 seconds to kick down the door, and you're in.
Yep.
You have 2 minutes, if alarm goes off, then you're out, but anyways. So I did that for 3 years.
And you never got caught?
I did. So after 2 years, my parents, in 08-09, for those who are old enough to remember 08-09, there was a big recession. Mm-hmm. There was like a mini recession, whatever. Mm-hmm. That's when my parents lost everything. They lost their house, their boat. My dad had a Shelby Mustang, an F-150. Like my dad went from probably making $300,000 a year to bankrupt.
Dang. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yep. And he didn't do like the normal like bankruptcy thing. He just left everything for collections and just hit the road. He cashed out everything, bought a travel trailer, and traveled the United States for like a year and a half.
Dang. This is part of the story I didn't know. This is all new.
Yeah. So he wanted me to come with him, but I'm knee deep in my addiction. I'm robbing houses. I'm smoking oxys.
Did they know?
So no, they didn't know at this time. At this point, they didn't know. So he leaves. Yeah, he leaves a boat, Shelby. He leaves his house. He leaves everything. I decided to stay. I'm still robbing houses, blah, blah, blah. I'm staying in their house until it gets turned over until collections, the bank comes and gets it and changes the locks or whatever.
Yep.
So I end up getting super, super into it. I'm dealing with some East Side natives. My dad left a boat for collections, which had like a $15,000 fishing boat motor onto it, really powerful, really nice stereo system in the boat. I sold it for $1,000 worth of pills to some East Side natives.
Dang.
And they came up to the house, they picked up the boat, they went over to the East Side, they stripped it down, they dropped it off. My neighbor calls up my mom and was like, hey, just to let you know, I just saw your son with some really sketchy ass looking people dropping off your boat, and there's no engine, there's no stereo system, the steering wheel's gone, the windows are gone. It's
Whoa,
just the
shell.
whole, just the shell of the boat. My mom calls me up bawling.
Oh,
I can't believe you're doing this to the family. I knew you were on drugs.
Oh, no.
This and that. And
So that was like the wake-up call.
Yep, next day I was day one sober.
Really? Mm-hmm. So that phone call changed everything.
Yep. Hearing my mom cry about how much of a disappointment to the family I am, that changed me.
Holy shit. Mm-hmm. I did not even know I didn't know that was the turning point.
Yeah. And I mean, I robbed my family. I mean, I stole 10 pairs of shoes from my sister. I stripped a stereo system out of a car that my mom didn't know. I sold couches. I sold, everything that my parents left. I pretty much pawned off and got high off of it.
When you're in that, like, what were you thinking?
I want to get high.
That's all that matters.
I'm sick. At this point, I wake up. I mean, if you wake up and you're deathly ill, and you see a TV that you don't use that much, it's your sister's TV and she's using it for storage or whatever, you're not going to miss that TV. But you're sick right now. You're dope sick. So that TV means $40, which means half a pill, which means you're not sick anymore. Fuck, I'm doing it.
Wow. Yeah. No matter who it is.
No matter who it is.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's all addiction.
Yep.
I mean, they don't care about, they just care about getting high. And that's it.
Damn, dude. I didn't know that was the turning point, that one phone call.
Yep. When my mom called me, and I remember
what did you feel? Like, what happened in your mind?
Well, I was with Joanna. I actually just got high, and she called me. I was with Joanna, my ex, and we were driving through Browns Point. I was on Browns Point Boulevard right there
just cruising.
Just cruising around. My mom calls me, and I'm oblivious, and I answer. I'm like, hello, and she's bawling. She starts saying it, and I didn't want to break down in front of Joanna, so I dropped Joanna off. As I'm trying to like pause with my mom or like hesitate with my mom. And then I drop Joanna off and I just break down. I'm like, yeah, I need help, this and that. And she's like, you need to stop being, you're a Misner. This isn't who you are, this and that. And so, so I went home and then I just detoxed I went to our house, my parents' house that they left for collections for like a week. And then my sister came. My sister was pissed when she found out.
Did she know?
She knew.
Not the extent, right?
Not the extent. She didn't know I was robbing houses or anything like that. But she came like a week after my mom found out, and she told me to pack up all my shit that I'm moving in with her. And she took me in which I'm very blessed, because a lot of people who are addicted right now, they have nowhere to go. They have nowhere to go.
No one, no support, because
they burned every bridge.
Yeah.
And so I was very blessed that my sister took me in at the time that she took me in when I was ready to get sober, because she took me in and I didn't have to pay rent, I didn't have to pay bills, I didn't have to feed myself,
Just
I didn't have
yourself.
I literally for 6 to 8 months, I was in bed. I would sleep all day. Miserable. Yeah, absolutely miserable, but knowing that it would go away.
Yeah.
I knew
You're in a
that
safe place.
this is not going to last forever, which a lot of people out there who are struggling with addiction thinks that when they withdraw and they go through all these feelings and this sickness,
it's never going to end.
They think that it's never going to end, and that's why they go back to it.
Yep.
But if you have 6 months that you can dedicate your life to better yourself, and you realize that it takes 6 months of hell, and then you're going to start to get better, like, it's so much easier when you realize that you will get better, and you're not going to wake up every single day craving that drug, which I still crave the drug. Don't get me wrong. I was addicted for, we'll just say 4 years, a hard 4 years, an easy 3, a hard 4 years. And I still 9.5 years sober, 9 years sober, I still
think about it.
I would love to right now, and it scares me, which I never will. I would love to get high off of opiates right now. I would love it. I would love to have a Percocet lined up to snort or an Oxycontin to smoke. I would love that. I would love to get high off of that.
What
but
stops
I can't.
you? Like,
I
what,
can't.
What,
I can't.
to hurt your mom? What's the factor that like doesn't let you do it?
Right now, it's my nephew. It really is. I mean, I don't talk to my mom and my dad that much. You know, I love them to death. You know, my sister and I, we have a relationship, but I would hurt my nephew the most. My mom and my dad, my sister would be like, oh, he'll take care of himself. He'll get out of it. But I can't have my nephew. My nephew's never seen me. My nephew's 9 years old in February, and I was 9 years sober December, 3 years before he was born. So he's never seen me addicted, and that's like my driving force is my next of kin, which is my nephew's our only next of kin. He can't see me like this. I was raised to be, I was raised in a traditional household where the man takes care of the family, the man pays the bills, he puts the roof over the head. And even though I don't have a kid, I do have a next of kin in my nephew. And so it's my responsibility to show my nephew what it's like to be a Misner man and to man up. And I can't do that if I'm addicted.
Wow. That's really good. That's
right now it's
powerful.
right now it's my responsibility to show my nephew. That is my goal in life, is to show my nephew how to be a man when he's older. Take care of your woman, take care of yourself, don't be a piece of shit. And I can't show him that or tell him to do that if I'm being a piece of shit myself.
Wow, that's powerful, man.
So I think that is probably the biggest driving force. But I love having a house. I love having an apartment. I love having a car. I love having a job. I love paying my bills. I love having quality friends. I've always had friends, but when I was addicted, like I would have friends where they're only my friends because I got a pill in my hand. You know, after we smoked that pill, they're all like, well, I got another friend who's got a pill, and I'd way rather just go get high than spend time with you. Where now the friends that I have, they're like, I want to hang out with you no matter what. Regardless of if regardless if we have drugs or what we're doing, I just want your time. And that's what means the most to me, and that's also what helps me keep sober.
Damn, dude. That is so real.
You guys like my John Lemon socks? I hope you can see that. I hope this whole podcast, you guys have just been looking at my John Lemon socks. If you guys don't know about my sock addiction, you see that? Shout out John Lemon.
Dude, TJ, thank you for sharing all that. That's like, I didn't even know half that story. I didn't know what the turning point was. I didn't know like what is keeping you from going back. I didn't know that your sister gave you that space to heal. Oh, yeah. Holy shit.
Yeah, and it was really, I remember when my parents left, we met up at Safeway, and they had their travel trailer and their truck and all their clothes and everything was all, they're ready to hit the road. My dad hands me, and I'm in the middle of my addiction, like full-fledged addiction. Robbing houses, smoking every day. My life is consumed by this drug. My dad says, I'm sorry that I'm leaving you, son. Here's $1,000. Take care of yourself. I said, $1,000? I can take care of myself for about 2 days.
Dang, so you spent it all on drugs.
Spent it all on drugs. He wanted me to put that as a down payment on an apartment or use it for food or this and that. And he just handed me $1,000. I'm like, it's like 10 o'clock in the morning, so I'm still sober that day. So then I'm like, oh my God.
Thank God. I don't have to rob a house.
I don't have to rob a house for 2 days.
Yeah.
And then literally 2 days, I go out and spend $500 that day. Me and my friends get super high. Next day, $500, we get super high. And then the next day, itching. Let's go rob a fucking house.
Wow. So even like when you're in the thick of it and you did smoke that pill, did it give you that satisfaction, or was it still like an emptiness? Like did it fulfill all your needs?
No, at the end it was. I mean, a lot of people can get this way. I mean, with alcohol, especially, a lot of people might feel this way or might connect with me on this. That first shot doesn't get you drunk. That first shot makes you normal. You know, that first shot of vodka in the morning, or that first shot, I mean, after work, not even in the morning if you're not that big of an alcoholic, but, you know, you get off work at 5 o'clock, you cannot wait. There's nothing more that you want in your brain. You don't want to take your shoes off. You don't want to kiss your wife. You're not hungry. You don't want to watch a movie or play a video game. You want to go to a bar. You want to go
and
home
yourself,
and
right?
intoxicate yourself. And with the heavier drugs, I mean, with alcohol, it gets that way too, but With the heavier drugs, that's literally all you think about.
Dang.
You wake up in the morning and you have to get high within the next hour, or you're gonna be shivering while you're sweating. You're gonna be pissing out your butt. You're gonna be doing all this, and nothing else matters. Nothing else matters.
Wow, man. That's so heavy.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you're doing good now.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, you know,
he works fine dining. He's got like a really good life. And
right? Yeah, yeah.
He plays World of Warcraft now.
I play World of Warcraft probably 50% of my awake time. I mean, I sleep a lot. I smoke weed. I drink alcohol.
Wow, my anti-drug.
WoW is my anti-drug. Yeah, I mean, my nephew's my anti-drug, but WoW is definitely close number 2.
That's incredible, man. That was like, wow. I feel like I was just in that with you for a second.
Speaking about hard drugs, man, how's ayahuasca treating you?
Oh, you want to talk about that?
That's something that I want to do. So I've only done hallucinogens once.
With me, right?
With you
and Benny.
Yep. I was hoping that you would remember. Yep. And I had a bad trip, so I'll never do hallucinogens ever again. That's something that I've made a decision on.
Never again?
Never again.
Not even ayahuasca?
No, man, because...
What if it was for the sake of healing? Not for tripping or high or like... Because that's the purpose of it.
It's not, dude. Stop making excuses, dude. You're
Look who I am now. It's from
You're
all the
doing it to get high.
No, I'm not.
Bro.
No, I'm not.
Bullshit. Bullshit.
I can say all my creations and where I am in my life is because of the plant medicine work I've done.
Bullshit, man. That's your addiction blinding yourself. If you never did ayahuasca and you still have these beliefs, are you telling me
I'm not addicted. I don't need a line of ayahuasca right now. I'm not going to rob a house for some ayahuasca.
Bro, that's not all addiction. Do you see what this guy's doing? He's throwing my addiction back in my face. He's saying, you have no reason to judge, you fucking druggie. You know, keep making excuses for it, man.
We'll talk about ayahuasca in a different podcast.
Of course, we're talking about my negative demons, not his.
No,
we're talking down on me. We're not talking down on Gabe.
For the benefit of all. It's not for any reason than that. I just wanted you to share your story. I didn't even know your whole story, so like, thank you so much.
Well, I mean, a lot of it I don't want to say I'm ashamed of, because I'm always an open book if people want to ask me, but I also feel like when I tell my story, I feel like it's a little smug.
Why?
Arrogant.
Because of what?
I don't know. I just feel like whenever I hear other people's sobriety stories, they feel like they're better than other people now that they've gone through. Since I've gone through such a horrible time, I'm now better than you. And that's what I get from a lot of other people that have been in recovery. They feel like they're better than even people who haven't been in addiction because they feel like they've been through harder times. Like someone like me traditionally feels like they've been through a rougher time than you because I've been through a heroin addiction or an opiate addiction or a crack addiction or a coke addiction, and I'm strong. You know, I'm stronger than you because I'm able to go through that addiction and get out of it. And that's what I get a lot from other people that I talk to about sobriety, and they're like, oh yeah, these people just don't understand. It's like, no, their lifestyle's different.
Yeah.
Like it's not that they don't understand, it's stop being egotistical and just realize that, you know, just because we chose addiction to get through our depression, like that almost makes us weaker. Like everybody has depression. We just chose to take the easy way out instead of dealing with it ourselves.
Yeah, I'm really glad that you're alive and you made it through, man. And I'm glad that we're still friends after all that.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'm glad I made it out the other side.
Yeah. What would you have to say to like someone that's still going through it?
Man, get sober. There's no easy way about it. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it at all. It's a fucking bitch to get sober, but you gotta do it. I mean, and you can do it.
Otherwise, you die, or it gets worse, right?
You're miserable. There's no coming back. It's not like you can be a functioning heroin addict or a functioning cokehead or a functioning crackhead.
Yeah.
Like
it just gets worse.
You need to get out
of
of it, and you need to realize that there are people, even if you don't think that there are people that don't care about you, or that there aren't anybody that cares about you. There's people out there that do care about you, whether it's family or friends. You know, if you don't have any family, then I feel sorry for you. But you do have friends. Even if you're a loner, you do have one friend out there. You do have somebody out there.
You're not alone.
Maybe a dog. You're not alone.
You're not alone.
And
You're
if
not
you can
alone.
just fight through your addiction for, I'm telling you, just 6 months, 8 months, get through that withdrawal, that physical withdrawal, and then fight your mind for 6 months. I mean, sobriety is so fulfilling.
That's where true
Sobriety
happiness
is
true
so
happiness,
fulfilling.
Right? No better high than
fulfilling.
being sober, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
But it's hard to comprehend that when you...
Yeah, it's hard to see it when you're in it, right? Yeah. But when you're out of it, you're like, oh, of course, this is where it should be.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You got a phone call?
Yeah, I think we have a visitor.
Okay. Well, we can wrap this podcast up now, TJ. That is like the realest. I know this is just episode 3, and I didn't expect to get this raw and this authentic, but I really appreciate this. I wasn't even planning on doing this today, but I was like, TJ, you should share your story on the podcast. That'd be kind of cool. So I really appreciate you like just being courageous to do that.
Of course, I'm an open book.
A lot of people are embarrassed or ashamed or whatever kind of like guilt and shame they got going on, and they don't like it's something in their past they never want to bring up again. But I'm like, the purpose of my intention is that hopefully someone will hear this and they can like.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not ashamed. I'm ashamed, but I'm an open book. Like I'm not happy with my past. It is what made me who I am right now. If I didn't go through what I went through, I wouldn't have the vision towards my life that I do right now.
Yeah.
I might be more immature. I might be more selfish, more narcissistic.
Yeah.
And I feel like it really humbled me. It just, I need to wake up and I need to be a good person, and I need to make sure that I'm treating my body and my mind properly.
Yeah.
Which I learned from him. Meditation.
Look at that lotus pose.
Oh God, that hurt. Oh.
All right, well, we'll wrap this up. Thank you, TJ, so much. For all you listeners out there, there is a way out, and maybe I'll put some like AA or recovery things in the description.
Hey, reach out to me if you want to ever have a conversation.
Yeah,
we can go have some coffee or anything. Find me on Facebook, TJ Misner. Also, shout out to the podcast that I'm a part of, Live from the Broken Hammer. Find us on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, YouTube. Little shameless plug right there. Live from the Broken Hammer. Check us out.
Thank you, TJ.
It was fun. I'm looking forward to this.
Hey,
if you want to be part of Gabe's podcast, just hit him up. I'm sure he'll interview you as well.
Yeah, trying to have all the unique individuals of all different walks of life so we can just, share conversations and enlighten the world. That's the whole purpose of all this.
It is.
Yeah. So I love you, man. Thank you.
Love you guys.
See you on the next one.
Later.